Folks, I've done it again. I've bought a new car and I haven't leased it. And what's more, it's an EV. It's brand new. So all these things I've been telling you not to do, I've just gone and done myself. But I'm now going to tell you why. First things first, as some of you probably know, I'm completely self-employed. I do this most of the time, but I also work as a business consultant. I help out all kinds of businesses, some small businesses, some small trades. But most of my clients, certainly the ones that pay me well, are insurance companies, some quite large insurance companies. Over this past 12 months, I've had a contract that's been fairly lucrative, and my business has earned more money this year than anticipated for that. To actually take that money out of your business and get it yourself is very difficult unless you want to give a massive amount of it to HMRC. I'm not talking about six-figure sums here, by the way, folks. I'm just talking about a decent amount of money. Long story short, at the end of this month, I was going to have about a 13.5 grand corporation tax bill. I was then going to have to pay personal tax, very significant amount of personal tax as well. And that's before I actually pay myself, all right? So before I've paid me, and obviously it's me that pays for things like the mortgage and the groceries and the clothes and things for the kids and all that kind of normal stuff that everyone has to pay for. The business doesn't pay for that, I do. And I had a word with the accountant and said, do you know what, actually thinking about getting an electric car. I've seen the amount they've come down sort of second hand recently, and I think there are bargains to be had. And for the way we use our family car, actually it would make loads of sense. And over the next few years, you know, I could potentially be facing a struggle. It's still a relatively new business. When insurance work comes along, it's quite lucrative. I've got loads of contacts in that, so that's great. But obviously it tends to be feast or famine with that kind of thing. And with small businesses, it's really difficult to get clients simply because the people that need your help most are the ones that are least likely to ask for it. There are all kinds of reasons about that I won't bore you with right now. But in any case, I thought, I don't know what the finances are going to be looking like in future. Potentially the mortgage is going to go absolutely through the roof. If we can get a cheap EV, we're going to have almost no servicing costs on it. I'm going to be able to charge it up at home. I've already got a home charger. I'm going to be able to charge it up for 6 or 7 quid overnight on a night tariff. We rarely do long journeys, and when I do, I've done enough of them in EVs, as you've seen on this channel, to know that most of the stuff that you read in the press is absolute BS. And it's not going to be an issue as long as we get one with a reasonable range and a heat pump, because that's important to me. We should be all right. So I was thinking, okay, I might get myself a used EV. So I spoke to my accountant and I said, I'm thinking about buying a second-hand EV. Is that something we can put through the business? Because obviously I'm going to be using it for business trips and stuff when I go to car launches and car events. Sometimes I have to go and travel to pick up a car that I'm reviewing, or all kinds of different things. And of course, on the business consultancy side of things, I have meetings all over the country from time to time. So I'll be using it for business. And she said, well, yeah, you could do that. But actually, what you really want to do is buy a brand new EV, because you can write off 100% of it in the first year. If I'd been VAT registered, it would be even more beneficial to do that. She said to look into that, and I thought, well, how can that possibly work? And the car I really wanted was well out of reach, like well out of reach financially. And I was thinking of getting something I didn't really want, didn't like especially, that just made financial sense, probably something like VW ID3, second-hand one. And then I started looking at new stuff, and I was thinking, well, I could get that, it's going to save this much in tax. And I ended up buying something else, something that I like very much, but always thought it was completely out of reach. And between one thing and another, I probably saved about 14 grand on it. However, the first thing I tried to do, and I've been trying to do this for about 4 months now, was actually lease one. Yes, I was trying to lease. Mr. Leasing, as someone called me in a recent video. Someone else called me the Martin Lewis of leasing. I don't think I'm quite as excitable as him, am I? I tried to lease a car. There's a funny thing, eh? Who'd have thought the bloke that talks about leasing all the time thinks leasing's a good idea? I couldn't. I don't earn enough personally, and I've got too many outgoings personally to qualify for a lease. and my business is just too new. I've only submitted one set of books where I really didn't take very much money whatsoever, and this upcoming one is the one where I'm going to be submitting everything. And say I did do a lease right now, I got someone to agree to it, I can only really write off my deposit in my first payment, so it still leaves me with a massive tax bill in a couple of weeks. So not only have I ended up buying a new car and not leasing it, I bought a new EV, which is madness, utter madness. Why would you buy a new EV? They're depreciating like mad. Well, that depreciation will be taken on the chin by my company. And if I tell you I got this brand new car basically for cash, although it's a bit more complicated than that because I sold our car and I've loaned that money to my business, and then the business will pay me that back in future months and years. But the net cost of that brand new car to me will end up being a reasonable amount less than a 2-year-old one would cost me, with about 40,000 miles on it. Now I will be doing a little series on this new car. You'll note I haven't told you what it is yet, and of course I'm not going to do that until the next video because I want you to watch that. A lot of you won't care. A lot of you are going to say, oh, it's going to become an EV channel, I'm not watching this anymore, grumble. It's just not. I'm not obsessed with the brand of car that I've purchased. I'm not obsessed with electric vehicles. Personally, it would have been impossible for me to get a petrol or diesel or hybrid car and put it through the business because I've got to pay company car tax, and that would have been extortionate and made the whole thing not possible. Couldn't lease anything. If I could have leased something, I definitely would have, but it would make no sense. Again, I can't do it through the business either, so I've got to pay tax at corporation tax level, at personal income tax level, and then whatever's left, I've got to then be able to get something with that. To be honest, when you do what I do for a living and you're honest with everything, it makes it difficult to extract money from your business that you've earned. You essentially pay tax on it twice before it gets to you. So I couldn't really have afforded to do it another way. I don't qualify to do it another way. And if I'd got a petrol, diesel, hybrid car, I would have been clobbered with company car tax, and it would really have made no sense to do it through my business. What I've done here is got something that will serve my needs perfectly for my business life. It will serve my needs perfectly for my family life. And it means that we're not going to have huge running costs for the next few years while I'm still establishing my business. And, you know, we need to see what the future holds. It's a strange time in all kinds of industries. And quite often when small businesses do come to me for help, you know, they're not having such a great time. So I really am not charging them very much money. And I think they get amazing value for it. But I'm not going to start charging people the earth that are struggling a little bit. It's just not me. Anyway, I know some of you out there will probably call me a hypocrite. They'll go for it. I'm not. I've got a different set of circumstances to you. If I were in paid employment normally and getting taxed once on my earnings and knew what I had coming in every month, I'd be leasing a new car, and I'm not sure it would be an EV, to be honest. It might be a little petrol car. As it is, this works brilliantly well for me. I'm really happy with how it's gone, and really look forward to spending some time in the car because it's a car I really do like a lot. As I said, there's going to be a playlist set up for the new car where I do a little series on it and sort of things I'm doing with the car. Maybe a couple of little tweaks here and there. I'll probably do a review of the car, which I would imagine will end up on the Men and Motors channel, and then a few other bits and bobs. I'm also going to do something on this channel about the various car sales services that I looked at, because I used one of them to sell our Citroen C5 Aircross. I did have an offer from someone locally that was, yeah, great, fantastic, we'll take it off you, from a trader. And then they couldn't come up with the money. So I've used one of the big national sales services. And to give you an idea, I looked at CarWow, Motorway, We Buy Any Car, and Kazoo. I'm not sponsored by any of them. There's no anything, but I'll just be able to tell you about my experience with each one and which one I actually used, which one gave me the best price. And the new EV, which my business has just bought, will be revealed soon to anyone who's even remotely interested. So thanks for watching this one, folks. Sorry if I've rambled a bit. I know I do ramble awfully at times, and I feel like I've done it a lot in this one. But I just wanted an open conversation with you, really. It's weird having a one-way conversation, but Look at me, I'm a 45-year-old man talking to a camera in my spare bedroom. What's weird? Thanks for watching, folks. Please like, please subscribe, please leave a comment, and I'll see you in the next one.